So there's a video that's floating around with a lot of views that is essentially suggesting that George Lucas was, for lack of better term, held at gunpoint or something to sell Star Wars. And it's this video right here. You know, they're signing the contract. And it says, George Lucas's face while selling the rights of Star Wars to Disney for $4 billion. Is there more to this than meets the eye? And, you know, you'll look at the comments. It's a lot of people who are like, this is the moment Star Wars died. Some person suggests that he's looking at all of the guns in the room. He's like, why are they still drawn? George Lucas has never been an expressive person. You know, with all of the interviews he's done over the years, over the decades, he always has that face.
That's him making $4 billion, right? $2 billion in cash, $2 billion in Disney stock, which he has made more than the cat. Like, he's made so much money off of this deal that it's insane.
Yeah. And we wanted to kind of correct the record and put it out there on the internet to live forever, because it's just sad how many comments are on this video of chuds letting the grifters and the hatred form their own opinions. They're the sheep of the other herd. And, well, we have the video here right now.
You know, I made the decision to sell the company with Star Wars. I made that decision because I looked at the future. I looked at the fact that I was going to have a baby. I looked at the fact that I was married. And I looked at the fact that I wanted to build a museum. And I looked at the fact that I wanted to make experimental films. So my life was going on a different track. I noticed the last few movies that I'd made were costing the company a lot of money. And I didn't think that was fair to the people that worked there or the company. And so I had made a decision to move ahead on the next Star Wars series, and we were starting to do that. I was also stepping away a little bit and turning things over to Kathleen Kennedy. What happened was Disney said, or Bob Iger said, if you really want to sell your company, if you're thinking about selling it, because we were talking about retirement and what are you going to do after all this kind of stuff. And he said, well, if you really want to sell it, you know, we're very interested. So that started that ball rolling. And I knew that was going to probably take, you know, to do it right would take about 10 years. And I said, I'm 70. I don't know whether I'll be here when I'm 80. You know, every 10 years, the odds get less. And so I said, and I'm not ready to do that because I want to do these other things. So I have to make the decision on my own that it's time for me to move on. So it wasn't like they were taken away from me.
He wanted to live his life. He was gonna, he was gonna have a baby. He was gonna have a family, and he wanted to be a part of their lives. And a lot of what he talks about building a museum and doing experimental films didn't track with staying with Star Wars and doing new things with it.
The other thing is, by the way, you can read a book. It's called Ride of a Lifetime. It's like a memoir from Bob Iger. And it actually chronicles this whole time period from the perspective of Bob Iger. And it was George who came to Bob. They were actually friends before this. And, you know, George had decided that Disney is the company he wanted to sell to. Like, this isn't like no one made him do it. No one came in and they started strong-arming him. No one just started throwing numbers at him in order to take over the company. He decided, I want to sell this. What's even more than that is at the shareholders meeting this past year, he stood up as the single largest shareholder, backed Bob Iger's vision for the company going forward. Like, y'all are just, oh my God, you have no idea what you're talking about. It's crazy.
And there's a comment on here that has 39,000 likes that said the exact moment Star Wars died. I don't know how many times Star Wars has died, but for the love of God, if you continue to think it's dead, stop coming back. I mean, like, if this was the moment it died, it surely didn't die yesterday. It didn't die last year. It didn't die with The Last Jedi. It didn't die with The Acolyte. Every single project that happens, someone says Star Wars is dead, and it's hilarious. Anyways, just wanted to clear the record. George is the one that wanted to sell it. He wanted to be with his family, made a crap load of money, and as Choco said, he's still the single largest shareholder in Disney. And good for him. He's living the good life, and you guys just got to stop, really. But I know you're not. But we'll be here to always clear the record.